My name is Jessica. I am, of course, here with Suzanne Porske, financial advisor with Phoenix Financial Group, and Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA, located right here on Main Street, folks. I was telling you earlier, if you're going to be around town, you want to stop by. First things first, we want to make sure that you feel good, right? So stop by the tavern right here under the office, Main Street Tavern, grab something to eat, and then you got to be really good, though, after the meeting with Suzanne. I got to say that a couple times. After the meeting, that's when you can head to the winery there at Water's Edge Winery and celebrate your ride to retirement. Real quick, that phone number, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. DimeToDiamondsRadio.com. There are many folks listening right now that plan to retire in 2026, which is great. But do you know that you're already in the critical zone when your decisions could decide how comfortable you're going to be in retirement? This year is bringing us lingering inflation, changing tax laws, and you guessed it, rising Medicare cost. So what financial moves should someone be making right now so they can avoid a costly mistake later?
Well, you hear me say it all the time. What got you to retirement will not get you as successfully through retirement. Whether it's sequence of returns, back testing, forward testing, all the inflation, the tax mitigation, because now we're taking never before tax money, hopefully turning that into a paycheck. So if you're planning on retiring in 2026, this is one of the most important years of your entire financial life. And the biggest mistakes I see is people focusing on retirement as a date instead of a process. And you heard me say that at the workshop. I see so many people, it reminds me of people breaking out of jail. Yep. Like they're so focused. You read the statistics. They're so focused on getting out. They don't know what to do when they get out, so they get caught. That's the same thing. People get so focused on retirement that they don't know what to do once they get out. And so that's where I feel like we're a lighthouse. We kind of hold that light out and say, hey, we've seen thousands of people do this. This is what it could possibly look like for you. And then have those conversations. So they're moving from accumulation now to distribution. So we need to make sure that there is a strong income plan. And then second, build that cash reserve. Right now, I'm like 12 to 24 months is what I'd like to see sitting aside in cash available so they're not forced to sell investments during a market decline. And then third, evaluate the tax opportunities and say, I got a friend. You need to talk to Rochelle. So the current tax environment may provide an excellent opportunity for those Roth conversions before future tax rates, potentially increase. So, and fourth, understand how the income decisions impact Medicare premiums. Income-related Medicare adjustments. That's Aunt Irma.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate healthcare in retirement. I think it's one of the biggest pieces because when we're working, we're getting our health insurance through the workplace. And a lot of people don't always realize that your company's paying usually at least 50%, maybe higher. And so they underestimate that cost. But then they also underestimate that, it doesn't necessarily cover long-term costs and it doesn't cover certain things, right?
Nope.
And if you pick one of the ones that's your favorite to talk about,
nope,
it doesn't cover you if you leave the city.
Disadvantage?
Yes.
Medicare disadvantage?
Yes.
Yes. I am very strong on that because we build the clients' portfolios and you get all this in place. And if you've got even one little piece that like Medicare Advantage, which again is disadvantage, it opens up a huge opportunity for financial disaster because you go visit, like we said, my story, my client that went to Oklahoma City because she never, ever, ever left her community care. She never left this area. And then she goes up there out of the service area, has Thanksgiving dinner, thinks she's having a heart attack, goes by ambulance to the hospital. Her whole time thinking it's going to be covered because they do cover stuff like that. Well, stayed overnight, did all the tests, all that stuff. And they said, we think you had heartburn from the sausage. I got the phone call. We had to start digging into her savings. She had a very, very large bill because it wasn't covered by disadvantage and only 80% is covered by actual Medicare.
Well, and a big piece of that is people think, well, it's not that big a deal because it's just that one chunk, right? But the reality is that one chunk that she had to withdraw has a ripple effect. Yep. Not only did it, lessen the amount that she has there, growing interest in doing that, but it also had tax implications. And then the list just keeps going on. It might have thrown her over through Irma. Yeah, which means now for 24 months, the next 2 years, she gets to pay a higher premium for that same insurance that she had. One little mistake like that can be a huge, costly impact on your future wealth.
Right. And so when people come in and say, hey, I'm going to plan on retiring at the end of 2026, let's look at what your Medicare supplement, because you want a supplement plan that's going to meet and exceed that 20%. Like you get to, I shouldn't say exceed, but you get to pick your treatment how you want it. And you can go wherever. You don't have to stay in a servicing area. So if you do decide to take that cruise that you never thought you were going to take and something happened, you're covered. If you're out of the country, that's another thing. It's covered depending on the Medicare supplement plan. So let's build that $100 or $115 in your budget. Then also let's talk about your Social Security Medicare. That Medicare, it's never on the Social Security statement because they can't. They don't know. It's different for everybody. It's based on their income. So you're going to see what you're going to get for Social Security. We're going to try to figure out what you're going to be paying for Medicare if you stay below the income threshold, and then add in also what's going to be on that supplement plan. So you have real numbers. And I think education is empowerment. And that's what happens with these people, that they're not chasing numbers anymore and they're not sitting here so confused. They actually have stuff that they can work with.
Well, and they're spinning their wheels. And if you ever go out onto the websites to try to get signed up for all this different stuff, it's this one and that one and the other one. I mean, we came in, my mother-in-law came in, and we had you help us get all signed up and set up. And
I like when you guys, is that it? I'm like, yeah, because I do this all the time. I've navigated all these websites. I know what needs to happen. And it was that simple. But you put me in front of a puzzle, I am clocked. I don't get looking for corners. I don't get all that stuff. I'm just not a puzzle brain. But you put my husband in front of there, that man lights up like a light bulb. And he starts getting, and that's what we do. We put all those pieces, all those moving parts so clients don't have to figure it out alone. And we became part of their team and putting it together.
So if any of this sounds like you might want to reach out to Suzanne and have that conversation, if it's a little bit confusing, because it was confusing for us, please come on, reach out, give us a call. We're happy to help walk you through the steps and happy to help.
That phone number, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. We've talked a lot about income on today's show, right? Because the recipes to a successful and happy retirement is income, income, and income. So did you know that each year JP Morgan puts out their guide to retirement? This year it includes this statement. It says, for most Americans, the magic number for retirement is 1.26 million. But then it goes into saying, well, it's easy to forget that retirement isn't all about just hitting a specific dollar target. It's about replacing your current income so that you can sustain your lifestyle without working. Isn't this what you've been telling people for years?
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen two retirements that cost the exact same.
Yep.
Have you?
No way.
So I think it's one of those magic numbers. It's not really a dollar amount. It's having enough income after taxes to do what it is that you want to do day in and day out. And for most of us, we talked earlier on the show, I think a lot of people know that they're going to work. So they get up and they go to work every day, and that's the routine. And this is what we're going to do. And we do a vacation here and there, but they never get past that next step of saying, well, what is it that I would want to do if I had all day to do it? If I had nothing to do, what is it that I would really want to do? And I don't know that we ever take the time to ask ourselves that.
I've met people, and I have some in my life right now, they've got $250,000 and they're able to retire because they've been planning it and just based on their situation and then what they want to do. Absolutely. I've got people that have had $2 million who are worried because their spending habits are much higher. So like we say, you've got to have those conversations. It's all about creating that sustainable income, reducing taxes, managing risk, and maintaining the lifestyle. It is a paradigm shift in the thinking, and that's what I tell them. I had somebody in last week, we were talking, and he got mad at an advisor, so he pulled his 10% out and invested it and created a huge mess, tax-wise and other. And I think what caught me the most, and even him, he said, well, at least it just affected me. My IRMA, my Medicare has gone from 232 up to 460, I think. Nope.
And
your joint, it's both of you. And he was devastated. He said, oh my gosh, so all of this is affecting both of us. And I said, yes, for 24 months. So before you get mad, give us a call. Come in and let's have this conversation. Yeah, even the guy that stopped in yesterday, he wanted an appointment in my first availables at the end of June. But I just want it. And I said, I know, but I don't mean to say take a deep breath, because as women, you can't tell women to take a deep breath, but I kind of looked at him like, look at me. And he did. He went to Water's Edge. In Water's Edge Winery, if you're listening, I want a bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh,
for all those plugs that we're doing, huh? But yeah, he took his wife down there for a nice little lunch, and he said, thanks for talking me off the edge. So
fantastic.
So retirement isn't about a pile of money. It's about creating that sustainable income. It's about having a plan in place and then working the plan and having a team that can help you navigate. Like when we had the One Big Beautiful Bill and all those changes happened, and you and I just would start offering these workshops up to explain it and educate it and doing our podcasts and all this. We also had people that are our clients that were calling saying, hey, can I come in? Absolutely. Let's see. And we do our annual reviews, which you don't just get to see me once a year. I'm going to bother you a lot more than that because we're in a relationship. I'm going to make myself available. People go, oh, okay, just once a year. I'm like, oh, sorry. Nope. I'm up in your business. But if something comes up.
In the best way. Yeah.
Yes. If something comes up and like we had the $6,000 credit, Trump couldn't go in and do anything about Social Security, but he was able to put a pen and paper and give that $6,000 credit. I'm going to call and say, hey, this is how it's going. We get another administration and they do something different. The same thing. This is how it's going to affect and roll out. So we have a CRM that lets us know statistically, like, these are all the people this is going to affect. And then that's when you hear from us. On top of, the free pies at the holidays and baseball games that we just had. We went to the Drillers with a customer appreciation with our top 40 clients on Sunday? That was fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah. So you see us a lot more than that. But yes, those annual reviews where we're being, talking to you. And if you've had something go on, a death, a transition, a healthcare scare, whatever, we're here. Give us a holler and set up an appointment. Let's talk.
Let's do it today. 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. That website, of course, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Again, this is Dime to Diamonds with Suzanne Porske of Phoenix Financial Group and Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA. I want to jump to one of our friends here, Ronnie and Brooks Dunn. The country duo has been making music together for about 36 years. That's a long time, folks. Dunn knows the importance of having a great team around you. We got the chance to sit down with him not too long ago. Here is what he said.
I was able to focus and do what I needed to do for my job because of the people that were around me. They were taking care of business while I was thinking about a song to write and how to deliver it and get on stage with it. Teamwork is, the answer to that. It's really important.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I know we've all heard that. So I know you guys believe in that as well, especially when it comes to educating and empowering. It's all about that teamwork, that relationship together. But this really sums up retirement planning, right? You put your financial trust into somebody like you guys, and then you're thinking, all right, I'm going to live the rest of my life in my dreams. You know what I mean?
Right. And he absolutely sum it up, the importance of having a great team around him. I would never think to operate on myself or clean my own teeth in the capacity of a dentist. We have these professions around us. And I think for some reason, and it is an accumulation when you're earning money. You do have maybe some separate advisors and you've got plans that are in growth mode. You've got the dividend earning stuff, and it's exciting when you get those big dividend checks at the end of the year. But it's a complete paradigm shift when you get into retirement. Everything needs to be in a different way. You're now settling in. I'm not saying you don't make any more interest. You're just making sure that it's tax deferred. You're making sure that your income is protected. So we are very aware at mitigating any taxes that could be coming around the corner. Correct, Rochelle?
Correct. Yeah. So, we talk about every dollar saved isn't equal. Some of them have future tax bills that are associated, and different ways that we pull things out of those impact people's Social Security, tax rates. They impact IRMA. There's just a lot of different factors that go into it, and that's not something that you were ever watching for before. Right. You weren't trying to, keep yourself under a certain threshold or do certain things like these to ensure that you're still accumulating and growing and never going to run out of money, but also making sure that we're being strategic and efficient with what we might actually have to pay from a tax liability standpoint.
And I want to take a side step here and talk about estate planning, because I'm going to be honest with you. If you come in the office, we'll have wonderful conversations about where you're at, where you want to go. I will circle back and make sure, as in any kind of planning, it's like building a house, that foundation is secure, that you do have your estate planning taken care of. And I will, if you have it, I would love to review it. I'd love to get on the website with the county assessors and make sure that it's funded, that your house is in that trust name. Make sure you have those medical directives in place. Make sure you have the durable power of attorney in place, because life's, and we can do all the planning and all the education and all the preparing. And if you don't have that foundation of that estate planning, I don't care if you tell me you don't have enough money. Anybody that is alive needs to have planning done, because there could be a time where you can't talk or you can't make those decisions. Not anything that you've done. Maybe you were in an accident or the body failed or something, but be prepared. That's the part that I want to make sure that people understand, that conversation is going to happen when they're across the conference table.
Well, and I think it's one of those, they also need to be aware of how long someone's been doing it, and you've been doing it for many, many decades. Because I just had a conversation with an individual that walked into my office yesterday who her mother had one of the wills set up, or the estate plan set up, but unfortunately it was so her name and her brother's name, and her brother is not wanting to participate.
Yeah.
But he has to, or else she can't get anything done. So she can't access certain funds at certain banks because it says so they need him to sign on. And I think it's one of those that it could have been mitigated. And so now she's trying to find someone to be able to help her go visit her mother in a facility to get this done.
Right. That's where I have the conversations with you mamas and even you dads, and say, you want a kumbaya with these kids, and it might seem like it, but we're going to have some real conversations, because it doesn't always turn out that way. And this is something that's really important. If this is you and you are listening to this and you think, you know what, we haven't really visited that trust in a while, or those documents, or we need it. We need somebody to talk to. How does this work? I know for our office, yes, it's $699, and people go, do you understand those are $3,000 to $5,000? We're not here to make the money off of that. I'm here to make sure that piece is in place, because everything else is really futile if you go and get it all. You go build the house, and then the foundation's built on sand, and something happens and it shifts and it crumbles. What does it matter? So yes, if that's you, I want you to call right now, set the appointment. Let's have the conversation. If you don't have time to stop in, tell them that you want the phone call so we can at least start there.
The number is, of course, 918-890-8311. Call today. Again, no cost, no obligation, folks. That simple. 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Coming up in a moment, some of the biggest regrets people have about retirement. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Suzanne Porske of Phoenix Financial Group doesn't keep anything a secret. She knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. She'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Suzanne Porske at Phoenix Financial Group for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Or online at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Suzanne and her team at Phoenix Financial Group have a special invitation for you today. For the next 5 radio callers, they'll sit down with you personally and help create a custom retirement plan for you. It's complimentary and there's no obligation. Just call 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Together with you, Suzanne and her team will look at your investments, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, show you how your life's savings can create a dependable and sustainable income in retirement. Call today for your custom retirement plan, 918-890-8311, and online at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
We appreciate you joining us. Welcome back. This is Dime to Diamonds. My name is Jessica. Alongside here, Suzanne Porske of Phoenix Financial Group and Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA. The phone number 918-890-8311. The website dimetodiamondsradio.com. Do you guys remember a story back in your school days about Pavlov's dog? I mean, this is really digging in the archives, guys. Remember this?
He was a Russian psychologist. He rang a bell when feeding his labs every day. So eventually the ringing sound alone made them salivate. Reminds me of the Pepsi can commercial. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, these dogs were expecting food. And so in retirement, there are certain emotional triggers that can flip otherwise rational retirees into those decisions that quietly derail a plan. And so some of them that come to mind for me is, and I talk about this a lot, is the sequence of returns. You've got people that what got them to retirement, they haven't figured out it's not going to get them through retirement. They're still in this market volatility with their investment, so fully exposed in the market. And it goes down. We have a down day. On the same day, they're pulling money out for their monthly allocation. And now it just took maybe 2 or 3 times the hit. Let me just even talk more specific. Somebody was down $2,600 and they took out their $5,000 month allocation. That's even bigger to try to get back up. So that's where that, market volatility, sudden market drops trigger fear and a loss of aversion. And then they push retirees to sell, possibly at the worst time, because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing, so I'm going to take it all out. So panic selling during downturns lock in losses and they undermines their long-term goals. So that's why I'm telling people what got you to retirement, it's not going to get you through retirement. And market volatility, we've got to talk about that when you're in retirement, because the market's going to keep doing what the market does.
Yeah, well, and I think it's one of those, we all think that we are extremely logical beings, but we are actually very, very emotional. And so there are a lot of things that we do get triggered or cause us to act in a way that we subconsciously don't even realize that we're doing. And so when you talk about the market dropping, the headlines, all those things, people get an immediate panic and then they make that emotional decision. And we talk many, many times about how emotional decisions are extremely costly because they have a huge ripple effect that people don't see. So when you're down and you're selling, you're just creating more loss and you're almost digging a deeper hole rather than trying to get yourself out.
Right. And that's what we talk about consistently with people is do not get out of that reactive. Be proactive. I'm never worried if it's going to crash and come back. That history has proven that. What really derails retirement is emotions. Hands down.
100% agree. I always tell people if the market really does crash, we have a lot bigger problems to worry about than whatever amount was sitting in there. So holding steady, sticking to the plan, which hopefully you've already come in and had that conversation with us and you know what you're trying to do and you know that is just part of the game. It's just going to be part of the journey that we've already established and you don't get into that panic mode.
Right. And that's where I tell people that rule of 100 in our industry is you take the number 100 and you deduct whatever your age is. So I was talking to somebody today, 68 years old, 68% of that portfolio, if you're going on the rule of 100, should be conservative. You should have a zero floor on your investments, meaning you never participate in the downside. When it does go down, you don't participate. But you're willing to give on that upside swing. You're only going to take 75 or 85% of the upswing in order to counter that floor. And it's explaining that and then showing numbers and running reports and saying, here, I'm going to educate you. You make whatever decision you decide on because everybody is different. Some people can stomach losses and stomach that. I'm very conservative. I can't do that.
Yeah, well, we talk about in retirement mitigating some of the risk, and that's what you're talking about is getting rid of some of that volatility within their portfolio. So you're not saying everything in this one piece, but you're saying, we have a strategic plan to say that this portion keeps us in a safe place.
Yeah, and I didn't make it up. That's been around as longer than I've been alive, is these different calculations and rule of 100 and the rule of 72, how often your money's going to double. All these things have been longer than Pavlov. And that's what we stress test all that and say, hey, this is the rule of thumb. Take it or leave it.
Have you ever, been at the store when they ding? That means the order's ready and everybody turns their head. I feel like it's the same thing they did with the dog, but maybe they've done it with us humans.
We hear a ding, we know it's time to eat. Exactly.
Yeah, so right now, if you're listening and you are concerned about maybe unexpected medical expenses or health diagnoses, in the future, if you have, choices like claiming Social Security, if it's right, electing pension plans, you want to talk to somebody, you want to talk about locking in withdrawals or creating paychecks in the future and what that might look like, please stop what you're doing right now and give us a call. Set the appointment for us to either talk on the phone for that hour. When you call, that's the whole goal, is to just get you on the calendars, as Rochelle likes to say. Get it on the calendar, because I'm not going to be able to talk to you for an hour when you call, but I will be able, or my staff be able to get you on the calendar, set that time aside so you have our undivided attention and we can answer those questions, whether it's in person or whether it's on a phone call.
There you go. It's as simple as that. You talk about the bell with Pavlov. This is the bell right now. The ding, 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 ding. This is the ding that's telling you to get your booty in gear and get to having that retirement conversation, folks. Again, that conversation all begins with a custom financial needs analysis. That's 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. That is going to do it for us this week. We appreciate you joining us. As always, love hearing from you, and we'll be back next time.
Have a great week, everybody, and make sure to stop in if you're in the area. We'd love to see you.
Yes, we would absolutely love to get to meet you and have some conversations, learn more about your situation, and just educate.
Yes, tell us what you want to hear. And this is why I'll bring you in here and let you see that we get to stare at each other and some walls, and I would love to see who we're talking to, because it's really nice.
Phoenix Financial Group has a strategic partnership with Rochelle Harp at Harp Accounting, who can provide tax advice. The strategic partner herein is not employed by Phoenix Financial Group. Neither Phoenix Financial Group nor IPW are affiliated with Harp Accounting. Any and all other services offered by the Harp Accounting are not offered through or supervised by IPW. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.